So we're off essentially to do some street photography, just one camera body, two lenses, small shoulder bag. And normally I think I'd be really doing it looking for people, situations, things happening. I will be keeping my eyes open for anything like that. But I have a slightly different idea here because London is full of detail, and rather than me describe it too much, I think you'll see as we go along, there are little corners, little things around that will make some interesting details, and I hope we'll be able to, in a way, capture some sense of what parts of the city are like by closing in. So my attention is not going to be fixed at 50 yards so much, but more a few feet away. So I'm going to check that all the settings are as I expect them to be, my default settings. So first thing is look on the back and check, and oh dear, right, it should have been on ISO 200, on 500. 200 is the lowest for this camera, the D3. And so I failed to do what I'm always telling other people to do, which is reset the camera when you finish doing anything different. Then also make sure that all the other settings, the way I normally shoot is aperture priority with quite often a little touch of exposure compensation. And it rather depends on the circumstances, so I'll be rechecking that when we get near to where we are. But quite often I have it on minus a third of a stop. And the reason for that is to hold highlights. It's just a preference. Other things to check are that the focus lock is not on, that we are on single, not manual or continuous, and a moment that we have the lens set to autofocus with a manual override and not to that which is manual. As opposed to later?
Yeah.
Well, because later when you pull the camera out of the shoulder bag, it's probably because you found something you want to shoot, and then it's absolutely not the time to find you've got the settings wrong or different. And also that reminds me that the other thing you don't want to find when you've gone out is that the battery was only a quarter charge. This is the shoulder bag I use these days. It's small, it's unobtrusive. Actually, interestingly, it's very well made, and this is how it comes with this insert, which is great. It really keeps things well padded, and I never use it. It's because it's too big, it bulks it out. I like something which is unobtrusive and simple and soft, actually. So although it might not be the way they intended it to be used, what I do, I just use one of these little things, shove that in there, put it down to the bottom, and in goes that, glasses in the side of it, and whoops, there we are.
So the bag
And there you go.
Here we are, middle of London's West End, Piccadilly Circus. Statue of Eros behind. And it's a zoo. Of course it's a zoo, it's full of tourists. They're all here for the royal wedding, actually. And on top of that, the light's pretty harsh. But we're going to look for something a little more private, a little different, and it's down that way along Piccadilly.
I was walking down Piccadilly and I passed this church, which I knew very well, but what I hadn't noticed before was that it has some very interesting windows. The individual panes on the windows are it's all glass and set slightly differently. So what you get when you look close in at one of these windows is you get this sort of kaleidoscope image of the same thing repeated. And what you need to be able to make use of that is something interesting and brightly lit on the other side. But it's all going to be a bit indistinct, but that's okay, because we're right on Piccadilly, and this of course is the main route for famous London red double-decker buses. Now here I am, and well, I can see that actually I'm going to need a longer lens than I'd originally thought. Fortunately I brought it. So change lenses, use in fact almost the far end of the zoom at nearly 200mm, and that gives me a framing where I'm tight in on the window. But what I need now is a passing London bus. Bright sunshine, it'll come out very strongly as a colour. So let's see. Yeah, that's all right, but actually what I really want is a route master. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what a route master is, that's the old-fashioned London bus which you hop on and you hop off. They still run some of these old buses, so all I need to do is wait. I'm going to have to shoot very quickly just as it passes. And also, vertically. Always useful to shoot vertically, never know when it comes in handy.